With that, why don't we actually get down to brass tacks and rank these teams?
Okay.
Because let's put them on the list. We can.
You want to do this alphabetically or like highest rank to lowest rank?
We can
alphabetically.
Alphabetically? Okay.
When you say alphabetically, like by team
so like
name?
Fluxo. Yeah, by team name.
Is this list alphabetical? I guess it is.
Yes,
already.
it is.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I was like, F can't be the start. So Fluxo, W7M, Hedan, Sting, Fu, Marvin, Geeks. How much faith are we feeling here? Are we willing to bet on a C? Maybe
do we have an E for entertainment? No, I'm kidding.
We have a D for dead in the water, but I think. I don't know. So basically, for Fluxo, right? Realistically, we're talking about Fluxo and Leviatán as like who's at the bottom, right? Who's actually at the bottom?
I don't know. I kind of want to rank Fluxo higher.
So
it's Pain Academy.
Who would you rank Fluxo above that isn't Leviathan?
All right, cool. I'm glad we decided that.
Okay,
how crazy would it be by Sid Case?
That would
I understand,
bonkers,
but I disagree. I understand, but I disagree.
Yeah, I think now we've managed to uncover the Pain Zeche RMC a little bit now. Coming up for 2 hours in, we've managed to get Pain Academy is better than VKS.
It's better than Kate Academy.
Trimby. It's that bowl difference, man. Bowl's dragging him down. It's gonna get absolutely run over by Hedan. He's with me.
Marvin bodied Morteus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So maybe just like a B or a C. How? Because we can probably get a decent spread here. I think C is reasonable for them.
Fine.
Because they're not hopeless. They've got some exciting elements here. Furia. I would love to slam Furia in A. Because we just haven't seen. We don't know that they're going to get there. But they're so close, and I really want them to get there. And I think their changes are really good. So I think
top of A, bottom of S. I am hopeful for this team.
Yeah, we could potentially throw some
right now
and
because
like,
fresh out the box. Yeah,
I disagree.
Well, minimum A for sure.
No, I think there's a shout for top of B, but I'll accept.
Wow, we got spread on this one.
I just don't know. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this roster again. Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm not. Okay,
Higo.
Why do I feel the way that I do?
Tuts. Ayu Jojo Think Card. Remember the Think Card element that we were
but again, about? I think that's why I asked RMC like right out of the box. Yeah. I think they could get there. I think it's going to take some time. Look,
Tatu went from an almost winless INTZ academy, went to Pain Gaming Academy, and within the first couple of weeks was already performing. Within the first couple of games,
he went to a really strong team. Like Furia, relative to the level, Furia is not like the equivalent of Pain Gaming.
Tuts Ayu Jojo was like the best part of this Furia roster, which challenged and went to playoffs. You get Gigo.
That was Ayu's first top half finish, I think, ever.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is upward trajectory, improvements.
And while I see that, I agree. Okay, I hear that, but like, I want to believe that. I've been burned too many times by IU.
Okay.
Oh,
you know what? I think
there are some unknowns here. I want to believe it. Look, I pitched them as the neutrals' favorite. I want this team to do well so effing bad.
Okay, so you know what? Trajan's got them solid A. Right now, you've got them top of B. I've got them bottom of S. Averages out to an A. We just put them in A.
I think we put them in A. Yeah. Also, is this where we think they will end up, or how we feel about them right now?
This is the start. This is out the box. Because
let's be honest. Start and end is like
start
4
and
matches.
Are so close, and like we said, some.
I was saying like end of like the. Okay, when I said that, I meant like end of 2025.
No. Just
this is out purely out the box.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, you cannot put them in S. That's crazy.
We will restrain ourselves and put them in S.
Okay.
So,
to me, out the box, there are 3 teams. There are 3, maybe 4 teams better than Furia.
We'll get to them.
We'll get to them. Yeah.
So it's like, do you put 4 teams in S? No. Like that's
I don't have 4 teams in S. I've got
exactly.
Absolutely not.
I've got 1 team in S.
I've got 2.5. So
all right, hold your horses. Let's go in alphabetical for a reason. All right. So
Furia's my half. So
Isurus Estral. This is Birdall, Jose Diodo, Mirius, Snaker, Ackerman. This is the LLA super team plus Korean imports.
Yeah. This is the team that I actually think would be bottom top of A again. Like,
I think
the name value is huge.
They're gonna be a bog standard B. That's how I think they're gonna do. I think they're because I don't believe in the formula.
Yeah,
we average into A again. Now above or below FURIA though?
Below.
That's
the B. So I'm obviously gonna
say
it's
$1 million. If we're really leaning into the like, how are they going to hit the ground running? I will put them below FURIA, but I think they've got a higher ceiling than FURIA.
That's fair. Yeah. Let's say end of split 1, right? Because again, it's 4.
Yeah, it's all basically the same. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Leviatán, Zothvi, Scary, Cody, Seo, Bradelta.
See if we're being generous, but I think this roster's going to take some time to gel, man.
Yeah.
I think we're going D for these guys. Sorry.
I don't disagree.
I just don't see it. Lao J. Who would like to put them in S? Would anyone like to put them in S? Despite the fact that we've lost Croc and we've swapped coaches, but we've maybe upgraded coaches. Maybe.
So
we've
here's my
support.
problem.
Who knows?
Here's my problem with Loud as a whole. Loud doesn't wake up till week 5. Split 1 ends in week 5. Like, you see my problem here. Like, genuinely, we've said, like, ever since they've had the Robo Tinones rosters, right? Like, Loud genuinely tends to crap out their first couple of games. They've always got the international event hangover. And granted, they're not at an international event this time. So I don't know what we're expecting to see. But with the changes and all that, I kind of don't think they're going to perform. And I think they need time to gel. So I've got them lower than Isurus Estral right now.
I've got them in A.
You got them in A?
I've got them in A. I don't know if I would put. I don't know what the order. I made my tier list just like for fun. My personal tier list. Well, I've been talked out of it, but my personal tier list was in some order in A: Isurus, Estral, Loud, and Red. You could convince me of the order of those 3 and anything. I had FURIA top of B. I can be convinced in A. That's fine. But I think this is a real mishmash. I think there's just so many unknowns.
Yeah. Like, give me 7 weeks, I'd have put Loud in A. But I have them in B because I think they're just off to a slow... Historically, they've been off to a slow start, and you don't have space for a slow start in this league. This division, in this split.
I want to put them above Isurus Estral, but I wanted to put Isurus Estral in B. So my suggestion, my offering is this. Is anyone upset about this?
I don't feel strongly enough.
I want
Estral to fight this.
And maybe even Loud and Isurus down there, because again, the slow start is real. I don't think... My gut says they're not going to start as slow as before. But I'm, like I said, putting that on coach and the specific changes they've made, specifically in jungle and support, potentially minimizing the sleepiness, because it will maybe demand a higher floor from them, which hopefully would propel them up a little bit.
And I think we're going to learn a lot about Robo and Tinones, right? These are guys that have won everything in CBLOL, right? Did the fact that you got... Both of you kind of were mid to, at points, ass at the end of last split.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Because you're only as good as your last split. Robo and Tinones aren't that good.
We're going to have to take a washed check on them.
Yeah. Like, I don't believe that they're fully washed. I think they'll bounce back. My question is just how long it's going to take them to bounce back.
Exactly. Yeah. Split 1 is whatever, right? But like, if you, that's character assassination. I'm not going to say that.
When do players like so Faker is going to play until the game ends? Like, that's just going to happen. Players do retire after 5-year careers. Players retire after 10-year careers. Tinones is on...
there was a chance that Tinone retired after this year. I thought there was a slight chance.
15 years? 14 years? What's
no, it's not all that.
He's on...
He's 10, I think.
His first year was 2014. He was 17. Yeah.
Sure. So Tinones
is
on
his 12th year.
Yeah, so 12-year career.
11th?
This will be number 12 because
wasn't he playing he was playing pre Brazilian structure, right? Like he was So Tinones has played longer than most players will ever play, and at some point, I was kind of wouldn't have been shocked if he'd gone, well, maybe that's fine to just like, you know, we didn't go out on a win, but we went out being the 4-time back-to-back champions, and
Tinoz might be the greatest Brazilian mid laner of all time.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
so
apparently.
I'm worried that we might see a continued drop off and a less graceful exit than I want for him, basically.
It's possible. Maybe.
There's a chance.
I believe in Aoshi. Not this split. Not this year.
Aoshi,
kick up the ass. Aoshi.
If it's an issue of mental game, then now she's got to get back in there and sort that out. So, okay, Pain.
S. Number one S.
They're the champs. They looked untouchable. And I don't see any reason why they wouldn't continue to be untouchable, at least for the foreseeable. Maybe not untouchable, but it's a new season, but they're very good. No notes on them. Red is an interesting one. So
S.
S. Tell me about that S, RMC. Tell me about the S tier at Red.
They're the other roster that was unchanged. Like, and again,
who cares? They went unchanged from like pretty darn good to pretty darn good.
But they're hitting the ground running. Like they don't need to make any changes when they hit the ground running. The meta kind of favors them a little bit too, because I think with Atakan, like jungle mid's super important, and this team has always played around that. Their side lanes are hyper mechanical, which means that they're always going to be fine. FNB is like always just at the cusp of things. So because I think Loud's got a slower start and they're going to fall down a little bit, I think K-Star's made some roster changes that makes them look a bit weaker than they were, and Red didn't make a single change. If Red were third last split, I think they're second now.
I don't disagree with them being second. I just feel like I something feels weird in my soul about putting Red and Pain in the same bucket.
Who's the Pain here?
Dude, they are just like they're like far and away the best team. Everyone else around them got slightly worse.
Except for Red.
And I think there was no one that I would have put in that, but I wouldn't have put anyone else. If we made an end of season last year power ranking, like tier list, Pain is an S. Everyone else is not an S for me, and everybody else got worse.
S though. Okay,
fair. I don't disagree with that.
I'm okay with putting Red top A, but then we got to knock somebody out of the A tier. I feel like it's way too crowded in that tier if we're putting Red in there too.
I think
we're going to put 3 teams in S. Don't talk to me about crowded tiers.
I said 2.5 team. I was willing to knock one down to an A.
Red finally managed to overcome Loud at the end at last split, so they finally managed to become better than that formula.
Yeah.
And I was just looking to see how do I match them, because I have very high hopes for FURIA. How do I stack them up against these kind of teams? How did they do at the end of last split? They never played, because FURIA just played Loud twice and lost them in 5 games twice, and it was just a disaster, right? So I didn't get to see the data of most of this FURIA roster, a slightly worse, arguably, version of this FURIA roster versus these other big hitters in playoffs. So we didn't actually get that data, which kind of bums me out. But I think that Red, I would put them in A and maybe top of A. I'd probably put them, because I do think that they are notably worse than Pain. Even though they're probably better than everyone else out the gate. But even if they were worse than Loud out the gate, I'd be like, okay, fine. I still think Isurus is bad, but not bad, but you know what I mean. I think they're more mid than this. But so I'd put them here. Get in there. Here. So that they are the top 2 if you're going from top to bottom, but I think that they've never looked like they were as good as Pain, all of last split.
Sure, I think that's fair. I just don't see Loud and Isurus Estral necessarily on the same level as Red either.
Me neither.
I think
I'd put them down here.
Yeah, okay, I'll be okay. Like I said, I think the A tier was just too crowded. If we put Red down there, if we're putting Pain in a tier of their own, which I'm fine with, then I think the A tier needed to be separated a bit, because then we
I don't know, man. I feel if I'm being outvoted here, that's fine. But I feel like with Loud and Isurus Estral, putting them in B is taking their not worst possible scenario, but let's say they're 20th to 30th percentile of outcomes as the most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think it's going to be the case. For me, I would put 4 teams in. I would put 4 teams in A. Just me. If I was making this tier list right now, put those 4 teams in A, Pain in S, and then Cade in B, and then the rest as is.
Maybe I don't hate that,
because look, Isurus Estral, they could be right. This team has disaster potential Absolutely. Trajan, I have many, if not all, the same concerns as you. But like, I think it's because but what if they don't? Like, would it shock you if the top two teams, right, the upper bracket of this glorified GSL was Pain versus Isurus Estral? Would that surprise you?
Nah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Because like in how brackets work, like Isurus could get an easy run to it and easily make the finals by beating having an easier run, right? That does, it wouldn't surprise me ultimately in this bracket style.
I guess you're saying it wouldn't surprise you more because of the format rather than they end up being the second best team.
Basically, I wouldn't expect them to look like the second best team. I'd expect maybe whoever Pain beat in the semifinal at that point being like Red or maybe even VKS if they actually if that works like straight away. Like, so VKS B is an interesting one because that's where I would put them, and I feel like that's mostly me tamping them down for having two new academy players like promoted up who are very good, but like so is like as RMC said, so is Pain Academy, and like I think that the bowl effect I think is dampening me noticeably on them, and like Kissy's good for sure, and Mortius is maybe good, maybe he's just fine. So like,
I think Kissy's ready. Kissy's had international experience and stuff, so I'm fine with him. It's the more Mortius and Trimby. I think Mortius has it in him. He just needs a bit of adaptation time to kind of get to that CBLOL level, which we've seen a lot with promotions. And Trimby needs just some time to adjust to Brazil. So I'm okay with putting.
And he's had a split or two up, so maybe he needs the time to get back into pro play kind of.
Yeah. Vibe. Like, and again, this is only split 1, 5 weeks again. I keep having to remind everybody because we're going to get blamed for this, I'm sure. Split 2 is going to look vastly different, I think, from at least in my head right now. It's looking vastly different from what we're seeing right now. But okay. You know what? That's fine. I personally, I'm going to go on record and say this. I don't care if it's Zotic or if the LA side's except for me does. I would be surprised to see Isurus Estral as top 2.
You wouldn't be surprised?
I would be surprised.
Oh, same. I would also be, like I say. So
I think that would be a bracket thing more than anything else. I don't think they're good enough.
Just I think the last thing here, does anyone want to swap Loud and Furia? Because I would do this because I'm a Furia lover, but would anyone like to pitch that Furia should be below Loud in this tier?
In other words, 4-4, pitch to us why.
If you don't want to, that's fine. I just want to leave the door open because I know that I've naturally done this. And I think because I'm also, I think, relatively high on Loud comparatively, because I do think Aoshi has a big impact here, and I like Wiz a lot for this team. I say like it more than maybe others do. I don't really care about Winsome, but I do like the rest of it, and I think there's still a chance for this team, and if they're gonna revive, this is how they maybe do it. So it wouldn't be crazy, but
that's the thing. Like with Loud and Isurus Estral, right? With both of these teams, like there's just such a range of outcomes. You could put either of these teams in anywhere in A or B, and you could look really, really dumb.
Yeah,
but that's results-based analysis, and we just don't know. But Loud and Isurus Estral, again, for entertainment value, it's going to be fascinating because like those two teams have the widest range of outcomes. I have no idea what is going to happen. So like, I don't know, man. I feel like I can't even sit here and make a case to you just because like I don't know. Maybe I'm replying.
In that case, I'm going to lock it. If we don't have a conclusive argument to swap them, we'll leave them because I've got control of the tier list. So this
let's go.
Is what we've ended up with. Like I say, we'll probably take a snap of it and put it on socials to see what the vibe is on this one. But I think, like, as we kind of teed up at the start, I think Pain is the same and Pain was the best, and I don't think anyone else has created a better answer than they had before. Like, Leviatán and Isurus Estral are new elements coming in here, and there's an argument maybe that if the Isurus Estral model overperforms and really, really works, maybe it can reach a higher height. That's not my position, but I'm sure I could understand if someone did feel that way. But I think anyone else is just as good or worse than they were before, at least at this point, at least going into the season. So I think it makes sense to run it this way.
RMC, what changes would you make to this tier list?
I think the order of it is fairly similar. The only difference I think I had on my tier list in terms of order, not necessarily which tier they're in, because we know that I stacked my S tier a bit heavily, is I actually had Loud lower than Estral, Isurus Estral. Just because, like I said, I am very biased against Loud's really slow starts for the most part. And I feel like Winsome will need some time to adjust as well. Winsome and Wiz as a jungle support are very stable, but I feel overly so in a meta that tends to be a bit faster paced right now. I mean, all the changes with Atcan and everything were geared to try and speed the game up a little bit. Make it easier to close out games. I don't think that was Loud's MO in 2024. A lot of it was just like hyper skilling, get to the late game, get to team fighting. I don't think the meta shift necessarily favors them. So I had Isurus Estral, which I think is a faster team and a higher rank. But besides that, yeah, that's pretty much where I had most of the teams. I will say Furia as well. I do have above Loud because first of all I had Loud low, but I'm also banking a lot on the. I'm being a little bit bullish on this Furia roster. There's a lot of things I like about them. Yeah, I'm Tatsu pilled, and also I'm just Furia baby pilled in general. Like I said, like this is the team that I'm second most accepted for.
Those have been their most fun rosters for sure.
Yeah,
exactly, and this gives me those vibes. So you know what? If y'all want to lynch us for the high Furia, that's partially on me because I am very very high on this roster and the potential.
I think this is super reasonable.
Trajan, what would your changes have been if you could make this just Trajan's opinions?
I would put Isurus Estral below V. No, maybe not below VKS. Maybe that's crazy. No. If I was being honest with my heart, I would do this, and that's the only thing I would change. I think.
Wow! All right.
Yeah, we've got it up and down.
I hate him. I've got no. I don't have any strong.
This team makes me sad.
I don't have any strong.
Trajan, we're all one big happy family now. Remember?
Oh my god!
I don't believe in them. I'll say that instead. I don't believe in them.
Okay.
I think everything else is pretty much it. What a bummer is it that Pro Delta is a D tier at the bottom here. What a nightmare. Yeah. What a cursed timeline that is. That is a shocker.
My change to this tier list would be to put Leviatán in C, but still below Fluxo.
I'm fine with that. If we want to do that, I'm okay with that.
But that was in the same breath of... we've decided that this is a healthy consensus, so we stop bickering. But if I could make it just purely my opinions,
you'd pull it up.
And also, I think I would put Loud a little bit above FURIA. I think I'd swap those two, but those would be my changes.
Cool. I'm willing to concede Leviatán to keep Loud down. Also, to be fair, I will say that because we shrank from 10 teams to 8 teams as well, and because we merged another region, I don't think the spread is as big as it has been in the past. Where we might not.
It feels weird to see like 80% of these tiers just look naked with one team.
Yeah. Like, I do think Leviatán and Fluxo can be put in the same tier very comfortably. Yeah. So I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. All right. The last thing we need to do today is we need to predict some end-of-year awards. Now...
End of split or end of year?
Sorry, well... When are we doing this again? Because, like, probably... Are we gonna do, like, awards for the end of split 1? Is there even a title? Is this going to run until the end of Split 2?
I don't know, man. Yeah, that's...
I feel like we can do... I feel like we'll say end of year, but we can get, like, you know, if once we revisit these...
Maybe. Yeah.
Exactly. Sure. We'll have, like, you know, either at the beginning of Split 2 or at the beginning of Split 3 or both, we can, like, at each point say, okay, I can make one change.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Mine is in white text. And I'll change the...
Same. That's what I always do with these.
So, I didn't do mine beforehand, but props to you guys for being on the ball. So this is end of year.
Okay, yes. End of year.
Okay.
Trajan, you can take a couple minutes and I can edit it out if you want to take a change, and you know.
That's all right. I'm just gonna yeet it on the fly, I think. We'll just send it. And I'll just go third in each category. RMC. MVP of the first year of LTA South.
Well, I can't remember if I did this last year, if I put him, but I probably should have. It's got to be, you know, the best, the most volatile, well, not volatile, voluble?
Not anymore.
Audible?
If you're talking about who I think you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, it's got to be a paint player. And it's got to be for me.
It's
Big man himself.
Bam, same.
Chiton, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
He is the best player in LTA South.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he is. He
you want to talk about a guy who like doesn't rest on his laurels? I think Titan is out for blood. I think he wants to win everything down here and then go to the North American teams and just, you know.
Yeah. And you know what? The matchup I really want to see between North and South is Titan Curry B-Voice Eos.
That's gonna be interesting.
That would be hype, actually.
Yeah,
be
because
sick.
B-Voice Eos was like my bot lane that I wanted for like eternity back when
Mhm.
B-Boy was here, and
Yeah.
then they were on different teams, and now they're on the same team, and Titan Curry have been crushing it. So
Yeah, so last time round I put Curry because, and I think
That's
he ended
fair,
up as
yeah.
the best support, but
Yep.
putting a support for MVP is always a pretty big gamble. It's just unlikely for supports to end up as MVP of anything. But I think I agree that this year, I think something about it does I think Titan just the it's in the air, you know. I think
yeah,
he's just, because of the progress that Titan made just last split in terms of cutting out the nonsense and the shenanigans, he was just godlike
yep,
all the time.
You
Like,
just roll the 9 every time.
yeah,
Yep.
and then went to Worlds and was still godlike. And they were
Yes.
still 2v2ing. Even
yep.
in the T1 game, who's getting first blood? It's Titan and Curry in bot lane.
They're nasty.
Like,
They're
first
so
blood
good.
in Gumayushi and
They're
Carrot.
just
Like,
so good.
they're crazy. And I think, yeah, this year is going to be maybe the one where Titan continues to step up and take that position. It's just, he's just the guy. He's already been the guy for a while,
Yeah.
but there's been like questions about, is it Bronze? And then we've got B-Boy here for a while, and is it him? And at that, I think Titan's just the guy.
But
Yeah.
now he's gonna be the guy, the Oming, and the Hombre. He's gonna be all three this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I will say, like, special out of Curry again. You notice I always keep mentioning Curry as well, because as a bot lane,
Yeah.
100%. The reason why I'm putting Titan over Curry is just because I think Titan has off the rift, or more than just like his positional skill, but he's such a voice on the team as well, right? That's why he's such a audible individual.
He got them over the
He
hump.
makes a team.
He and Curry,
Yeah.
but like I feel like if you want to talk about like lifeblood, right? Like who's kind of
Yeah.
the spiritual leader.
The
of
Moon
that
Maker,
team.
yeah.
Exactly. 100%.
Okay. Rookie of the split. We have 4. Tattoo, Marvin, Giggs, and Morteus. I'm happy to go first this time. I've put the rest of mine in. I think it's going to be the one from the team that's going to perform the best. I think it's Tattoo. I think it's the one who's going into FURIA, who is going to... I have faith in the pitch that RMC has given. And like I say, I think it's going into a very exciting formula, and I think he's a good piece for that. So I think he's going to perform really well. I think Marvin and Giggs are interesting and exciting, and Morteus, I got really excited when Smiley did really well, and then like just when Smiley peaked, we've replaced him. So like I'm like, well, Morteus better be the best of all time, and apparently he's maybe not. So, but they do still have Smiley in Academy, so maybe we could swap him back. Who knows? But it's 4i4. Who is your choice?
Be surprised.
For Rookie of the Year?
Mine is I am counting on the CL effect over the course of the entire year, which is why I clarified why, is this end of year, because I think it is more than likely that by the end of this year, if CL can work his magic again, this is a bit kind of aspirational.
Yeah.
This is a bit me thinking with my heart a little more than my head, because to your point, RMC, Morteus, right? Maybe not as consistent, right? Maybe didn't hit those highs, kind of, he fell off a little bit over the course of Academy last year. But I think there's a universe in which CL's going to work his magic again, and we're going to forget all. I hope this doesn't happen. We're going to forget all about Smiley.
That's
Yeah,
so sad.
fair enough.
But yeah, it's possible, but it would be sad.
Yeah, and Morteus has a lot of hype around him. He's been consistent for more than just like this year. Like last year is why I thought he was actually CPL
his
already.
ceiling, I think, is so high.
Yeah, and 100%. Like I kind of agree with your thinking there for. But to me, I put Tattoo as well, largely because of role competition. I think CBLOL or LTA South now needs better junglers, and I think Tattoo's a new way. Whereas when it comes to bot laners, I'm sorry, Morteus. I'm sorry, Marvin, because Marvin as well. Marvin was beating Morteus in lane last split in Academy, last year in Academy. There's just less competition in the jungle role. So I think for Morteus it's a bit harder, because you're competing against the likes of Brunsey, Titan, all these giants, Ayu, if he's back in form. It's just so much harder.
Yep. Okay, 4i4. You can lead us off this time for most improved.
All right, most improved. Who did I put for this? Ooh, okay.
Let's find out. Just gonna open
This-
it up. And
I remember now. This was definitely the one I struggled with the most.
Okay.
But I put Fu. I think we are all going to be reminded that Fu is like really effing good. There's this like, wanting to put a narrative on everything. Fu, in my fanfic, Fu is really pissed that he's still on Fluxo /W7M / Electric Boogaloo Part 2.
Yeah.
And he is just going to, whatever their record is, you are going to, like, Fluxo is going to be appointment viewing just to watch whatever the hell Fu does. I think he's going to solidify himself as a top 3 mid laner and get the hell off this roster next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe even in the middle of the year.
That's right.
Yeah,
I think he's going to go from like, oh,
yeah,
he's sick, he's a Kali, he's really getting there. Wow, what a great success story. To like, no, he's one of the dudes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking a little bit about that too, and then I looked at his jungler and I was like, if Fu does well, that means Drake Hero did well, because I think if Drake Hero does poorly, Fu's gonna get screwed by. And then I was like, and if Drake Hero does well, I think he's gonna steal the spotlight away from Fu. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think Fu definitely won for consideration there. I went with Morteus for all the reasons you spoke about him as rookie of the split.
Yep.
I think he'll be the most improved. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think there's an adaptation period for him, for Marvin, that's going to be a little bit required. But I think, yeah, once Morteus hits the ground running with the Coach CL effect, he's going to absolutely grow wings and just pop off.
Yeah. I have been convinced once again to get back on the IU bus.
Oh, did you think his floor is that low right now, Trey?
Many of us have been on the IU bus.
In the absence of House, Trajan turns to IU.
Yeah. Dude, I need my replacement, like...
I thought Desamis was the House replacement for you, Trajan.
No, man. Desamis was, like,
Desamis is just good now.
Liberty Desamis.
Desamis is just really good.
Now Desamis is just good. It's not fun when they're good. It's not fun when they're too good. You know what I mean? You can't be my, like...
You need this ocean of unrealized potential.
So it's him getting back in the IU bus, and like, to be fair, I don't think his last bit was bad by any means. I think that still he and Brunsey as well, to be honest, both still suffer when the chips are down and the pressure gets to them. But I think that IU by the end of the year, with the think card effect and being able to stick, hopefully with this roster sticking together, I think we already have seen that improvement. That returning to form begin, and I think it's going to continue and then get back past where he was before, and then we'll hopefully get like proper, like, top 3 Pantheon AD carries of Titan, Brunsey, IU. I think.
I'm surprised you didn't have IU as MVP though, because I think if he's most improved, he'll also be MVP at that point.
But I think, like,
he's hedging his bets.
Yeah, well, one of the AD carries is going to go crazy, and I'm going to be there for one of them, not the other one. Yeah, I think that Titan is still going to, like, I think he's going to solidify himself as top 3, maybe even top 2, if Brunsey doesn't if Brunsey stalls, which there's a risk of. But I still think Titan's the man. I think Titan's still going to be the man this year. Most ELO held, I feel like there's one answer.
There's
to this
one
question.
answer.
Yeah, there's one answer.
There's one answer to this question. And his name is Pro Delta.
Yep, okay, we're all in agreement with this one.
Oh dear. Oh dear,
Cool.
oh dear.
Oh, yeah, that's still, it still hasn't really sunk in for me.
It's going to hurt all year, or as long as that team has won them. Unless... I feel like I always want to hedge my bets to go, well, if they do well, they're just not going to. It's not going to be good. It's going to be bad, and Pro Delta's not going to have any fun, and that's going to make me very sad. So,
yep. And then in 2026, he'll go to Loud when the Winsome thing doesn't work out, and then he'll win the title. Yeah.
To be honest, like, that's one of the brighter futures I had for him was jump in after Redbird just can't be arsed. And Loud had a very nice opening for him, but sadly not. Okay. Biggest flop. Who wants to start for biggest flop? RMC, who's your biggest flop?
I actually just changed my answer.
I saw that. I saw you, sneaky bastard.
Okay, well you
wait, okay. I went with Bertle, but in my head I was thinking it's gonna be one of the imports. It's always one of the imports. Yes, it's our biggest flop. And at first I actually wrote Trimby.
Oh, look at that!
Whoa!
Oh, did we all go Bertle? Okay.
Yeah.
I did not see their answers. I had Trimby at first, and I was like, no, but I don't believe Trimby is going to be that bad. Like that guy is good. He's adaptable.
I think he's gonna be good.
I think it'll be a bit of a rough start, but like once he gets into it, and with BKS, I don't think BKS really flops their players. So I was like, I got
under CL, there have been no flops.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything, and I was it's been just a slew of, whoa, this guy is much better than we thought. A slew
and I'm already like tempering my expectations for this roster based on the changes. So like even if they if they go from 2nd to 5th, I'll be like, that seems plausible. So I wouldn't even call it a flop like at that point because I'm expecting it. Like
it's depth, right? Yeah, and it is the end of the year too, so we've got time. So I was thinking that then the other imports are what? Birdo and Winsome. And okay, Mirio to a certain extent, but Mirio's played in the LLA before, so I'm just like, he knows what he's getting into. And to be fair to Winsome, I mean, he's coming up from some time in academy right now, so I was like, okay, you know what? The expectation on him is not as high as it is on Birdo. So if there is going to be a flop, it's just because Birdo is coming in as an LPL top laner, and we do have pretty good top laners, and we've seen the fall off from imports so many times.
The range of outcomes is absolutely a night.
Just don't work out. This is so rarely do they work out. Like, I think
this is all of Trajan's worries about Isurus Estral distilled into one player, right?
It's like this is the big name signing that I think is going to be the biggest flop of the year, and they're just going to settle and crash down into 6th or something horrendous.
It's got it written all over it. It's written in the stars for this to happen.
And just to be clear, we're not saying biggest flop is not the worst player. It's not the LVP. No. Birdo is being named because he's coming in with such high expectations that even like finishing 6th, like before mentioned, that would be considered probably the biggest flop.
That would be disastrous. That would be bad news bears. And then you were going into that promotion relegation tournament with just like vibes being at an all-time low. Like I have complete faith in the LATAM players. I think this team, right? And that's we're saying the same thing 7 different ways. This team is going to go as far as their imports take them. Period. If these imports hit their ceiling, this team could win LTA South.
Yeah. Okay. So
RMC.
Well, no, I'm just hesitating a little bit because I do think the LATAM players are good. Like I do think Snaker and Ackerman are good, and so is Jose Diodo. So it's like taking as far as your imports can take you. Like I get the sentiment. I don't like. I think that's a bit more than I'm willing to say, but I get the sentiment. Hence the reservation in my face.
I'll take that. Yeah, I saw you when I said that. I really looked up to you, and like it wasn't one of these. It wasn't this face. It wasn't this.
Yeah, because like again, I agree with the sentiment. I just think it went further than I was willing to say. So like, I think the LATAM players are good. So it's kind of like,
Okay, right. That is our predictions for end of year awards. We will check back periodically here and see if we want a little tasty switch or two. But well, that is for later in the year. That's for after at least a split of LTA South has concluded, and that is gonna be all for us today. It was as a pretty chunky one, as our first and last shows tend to be, but there's plenty to talk about as always. So this next weekend, not this coming weekend, the weekend after that, the 25th of January, 25th, 26th is the LTA South kicking off, and we will be covering it.
Draw show on the 18th as well. I don't know, we're probably not covering that, but it exists. So if you want to know the matchups for week 1 for the week after, 25th, it's on the 18th.
We will be studying them very closely. So if you want to talk about those matchups, you can join our community Discord, which is linked, I believe, on our Twitter, which has a different name now. We are now at LTA_South, because that's the name of the league. So if you find us on Twitter and socials, we will have a link to the community Discord there. You can chat to us about it. You can chat to the community about it, as we have plenty to talk about with everything going crazy in this new year. Thank you everyone for watching this. We will be back with hopefully doing weekly podcast episodes as usual, and like I say, we will be covering the games at on Twitch as well, casting, co-streaming. We will be covering the games in English if that's where you want to catch us and watch them. So we would love to see you all in chat and around and about on socials and in Discord. So thank you everyone. Thank you 404. Thank you RMC, and we'll see you in like a week and a half.
Hell yeah.
See you when it all starts. Kick off on the 25th.